This is the UC Hunting Properties Podcast, your home for all things recreational land. Our goal, to help you stand on your investment. Hey guys, welcome back to the UC Hunting Properties Podcast. I got to start it this way or Tyler's going to start hitting me in the head. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, for sure, subscribe. Follow our channel, see what's shaking, and keep up with the podcast. But we appreciate that. I believe there's even a review process, like give us a 5-star review. It does help drive that algorithm and get the word and the message out so this thing continues to grow and grow and grow. We appreciate the support. Today, we're bringing a guest in, kind of agent extraordinaire down in north central Arkansas. And we're going to dive in deep with Shawn Davidson. He's part of the Diamond G Realty team down there out of Mountain View, Arkansas. I had the pleasure of meeting both Shawn and his wife, Hannah, at convention this year. Had a great conversation with those guys. They're excited about UC Hunting Properties, the new partnership with Realtree, and everything that goes with it. Some of the best hunting and recreational ground in the country is literally out their back door and where they're servicing their customers. So without further ado, our guest, Shawn Davidson. Shawn, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate it. Glad to be with you all day.
Absolutely. I can't help but notice I love that cowboy picture in the background, Shawn.
It kind of sets the tone for us. It works good. Now, on the other side, we have all the buckles my wife has worn. I don't have that collection, so I need the picture.
What do you mean you don't have the collection? I thought you were the big rodeo cowboy in the family.
Well, I try to be, but it's hard to keep up with my wife on that. She's worn a lot.
Now, what did and let's talk about that. Let's go down that, Shawn, because the one thing I was going to ask is, for you to introduce yourself, but the one thing we spent some time talking about at convention was, your guys' history with rodeo and the fact that you've done a lot. I mean, all the way up to, I believe, like PRCA stuff, right?
Yes. And we've really enjoyed it. It's been a lifestyle for me and Hannah both on there, and just kind of something that we've done longer than we can remember.
Sure.
And our daughter ran high school rodeo and ran barrels, and it's just really been an integral part of our life and with the community, and really gave us a lot of ties in the north central Arkansas area, people that we meet and see on a regular basis they're all over this area. And then we both traveled quite a bit rodeoing, but we're kind of at the point we don't travel near as far as we used to.
Right. Life kind of gets in the way, right?
It does.
Now, what did you do in the rodeo specifically, Shawn? Were you a bull rider, bareback guy, a roper? What'd you do?
I was primarily a calf roper.
Okay.
On there, and team rope some, but I primarily was a calf roper.
Heeler or header?
I was a tie down.
Okay, gotcha.
I did head some, but most of it was tie down on there, and it really enjoyed it for a long time.
And then what about your beautiful wife? What was her expertise in the rodeo world?
She runs barrels, and she was a breakaway roper, and she has also won the state ACA in the breakaway before and been the runner-up, and been very successful and been to the junior national finals in it.
Nice. Now, did any of your guys' rodeo involvement, did it ever lead you to like the NFR or like what kind of accolades are we talking about, Shawn? I know you mentioned the lifestyle, but you guys are literally living a rodeo lifestyle.
Ours is, we mostly, as far as the finals, were the in-state finals that we made.
Okay.
When I went on to the PRCA rodeos for a while, we stretched out into the circuit, which we're in the southeastern that goes to Florida on it. We never got to that level of the NFR or anything like that, but we tried them, but it just wasn't in the cards for us.
Sure. And that's a competitive game. That's big boy stuff for sure.
It was fun. It was fun. And it really, in my case, me and my brother, I rodeoed with him. We talk about it a lot. That really probably the best thing is it made us successful in our careers because it cost so much money. We had to make money to go. We really credit our work ethic at work due to the fact we blew too much money rodeoing when we were going. So
sure. Well, everyone's got their vice, and I think self-admittedly mine would be hunting and traveling to hunt now. But It's funny when you say it like that because I grew up in a household like my dad ran a late model, my brother drove a stock car, so it it's the same but different, right? Because
Yep.
um,
Yep.
uh, God knows there isn't a bunch of money to be made in driving stock cars unless of course you make the big dance and get into like the NASCAR circuit or something. But I think rodeo is very similar and it's like in your blood. Everyone I know that's tore up with it's almost like part of your DNA.
It is, and it's so enjoyable as part of the lifestyle, and we enjoyed it with my daughter. Able to do something with her where she's with the horses and grounded and at the farm and all those things. That she's in college now in a totally different environment, but we really feel like we were able to provide her with some roots
Right.
that are really good going forward. And we enjoyed it. We had a lot of times we had more fun taking her, even when she wasn't winning anything,
Sure,
uh,
sure.
than we did in the earlier days.
So you
So
guys were all over the place rodeo in your whole life, and it now is rodeo what how you and Hannah got together in the first place?
it is. It is. We had actually known each other for a long time, just casually seeing each other at rodeos, and then actually I had took my daughter to a rodeo and Hannah was entered and I wasn't roping that night. We parked next to each other and the three of us sat around talking, and that was 5 years ago, and here we are now.
Lo
You
and
know, I mean,
behold, yeah.
yeah. So that
She
was,
was looking for tall, dark, and handsome, and you said, "Hey, I'm your guy," or what?
yeah, yeah, that was it. I'm not sure she would tell it that way, but I like that. I like that.
Oh, right on, right on. Shawn, give us. Obviously, you guys have a successful real estate firm down there now. Um, give us a little bit of your background, and I mean, I believe you told me you're like an eighth generation Arkansan.
I
So
am.
so that's impressive. But give us just a little, like I said, 10,000 foot overview of who you are, where you come from, and how you got to where you're at now.
Where I came through, my family has been in Arkansas here or there. The last one got here in 1860.
Wow.
And both sides of my family live in the area that we now service, from originally around Clinton up to the other part of the family at Harrison. And it's really allowed us to be involved in this area and to know the area from that deal. I was in high school. My father was a principal, and we lived in Eureka Springs and started out 15, 16 years old, guiding horseback rides, driving carriages, getting to interact with the public in doing something that we already enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I went from there. I worked in the sale barn cattle business quite a bit, and then I was in the service industry for Dodge and Chevrolet and Ford at different times for about 30 years. And I worked primarily at Dodge dealerships. I did work at one Chevrolet dealership that was in Little Rock, which is our biggest city here in Arkansas. And but everywhere I worked primarily dealt with trucks and that kind of thing. So I got to use my background there and interact with people. I probably wasn't the guy to work at Mercedes, but as far as Chevrolet trucks and Dodge, and those things, and I did, like I said, did that for about 30 years. And after me and Hannah got together, I'd been going with her on weekends to shows. She's been in real estate for 13 years now. And after about 2 years of going with her on the weekends and lived at the dealership all the time because it's busy, she's like, "Why don't you get your license? You're with me all the time." And
Yeah.
and it's really worked out good because it's been one of those things. I get to work with the type of properties I like and enjoy and be out there. At the same time, when I was in Little Rock and working with a lot of those customers, I got to see customers that enjoyed the lifestyle of hunting and the country and those things, but their job required them to live there in the city. And
Sure.
we've actually worked with a couple of those customers I had before who have now been successful enough that we've been able to find them hunting properties here 1 to 2 hours from Little Rock that they can enjoy, they can invest in. And it's really kind of tied together, being able to, having worked with that type of customer before, and then just instead of now helping them with their truck needs, helping them find a place and land
Well,
to
and,
hunt
and
and enjoy.
yeah, and I I mean, I guess I'd say it like this. I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. Number one, you have deep, deep family roots in the area you guys are working, and then with your exposure in the automotive industry and rodeo for that matter, I mean, you probably have ties to way more people than I'm going to say an average person. And even if they're indirect, they're still direct ties, and now you're able to kind of leverage all that into your real estate business.
It's just been I've been very blessed. That I'm one of those people who believes the good Lord puts you in places you don't even know you need to be, and that's
Fact.
really kind of been my entire life. And I just had a conversation with a gentleman this morning from Raleigh, North Carolina, that's wanting to move out here, buy a big enough place that he can hunt, he can live out here, buy a mobile, and was able to talk to him about the land. Uh, Another gentleman that I rodeoed with and worked with before runs one of the bigger mobile home places here. Another gentleman that I've rodeoed with uh, does septics and also able to coordinate all those contacts on there. And it fits good together for us and something we enjoy doing, and we can put our customers with those people and enjoy it. And we get a lot of these people coming out to buy the hunting properties in our area that, maybe they went and hunted on grandpa's farm when they were young.
Yep.
And then now they've been, I mean, we sold a property, a 500-acre property that was restricted only to hunting,
Wow.
uh, to a doctor that he'd grown up on grandpa's farm. I actually had dealt with him as a customer in the automotive, and he called, and he has to be 4 days a week there at the hospital. With those other three, he wanted somewhere to go and take his family and be able to hunt. And that's kind of what we're seeing in this area. And the bigger pieces are just hard to find in this area.
Yeah. Yep. And well, I think they're harder to find everywhere, right? Like, and especially after, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, the COVID boom, let's call it. I mean, real estate and all things outdoors just exploded through that whole time period. And I think a couple things happened with that. I mean, number one, probably gentlemen, just like you mentioned, that grew up running around a family farmer, his grandparents' farm or whatever, maybe they've had their head down for the last 20 years and they're in a grind, and most of the time those grinds are happening in urban areas. And they're choosing to recreate out in the country. And the reality is, I mean, I think that sprawl, like good or bad or whatever, because we could have a whole discussion on COVID and what it was or what it isn't. But the one thing it definitely did, and I mean, I think it did revitalize a lot of people that maybe that's where they came from. And now they're starting to think like that, where, truly stand on my investment. Well, yeah, you can park money in the market, but you can buy land and watch it appreciate. And even if it's a legacy farm that's going to get handed down, I can't think of one example of where true land depreciates. I mean, it might turn into a long term hold, but that lifestyle aspect of owning land and being able to enjoy that land, take your family on the land, hunt the land, it's hard to put into words what that really truly means or what it's like. I mean, you almost got to experience it. Um, I, I just look at it differently, Shawn, and I mean, I think your area specifically in Arkansas, a couple things on that actually. Number one, Arkansas 1,000,000% a sleeper state when it comes to big bucks. Um, I have numerous buddies that either hunt Arkansas or have hunted Arkansas, I'll put it that way. And some of the deer that are getting turned up in Arkansas are mind boggling.
It is. And a few of the things that help us, we don't measure in our area. You don't measure where you're going in distance. You measure it in time, because we
Yeah.
don't believe in straight roads in my area. They're not,
Yep.
so we kind of measure in time. It's 30 miles to our farm from our office, and it takes an hour to drive it, you
Sure.
know. And one of the things that's good about our area is it's still mostly undeveloped for that reason, because the roads aren't as good and to get to. At the same time, we have so many hills and everything that we can sell a customer a 20-acre piece and they can hunt on it, because you're not going to get our terrain's so up and down. You're not going to get 100-yard shots.
Right.
Maybe in a few of them, you're going to get 25-yard shots because it's off the hill and it's up and down, and that helps with the amount of land they need. We also have a lot of national forest land,
Yep.
and we have marketed it to a lot of people who we've sold a lot of 10, 15 acre pieces that are next to the national forest, and they're developing their 10 or 15 acres and drawing those bucks in.
Yep.
And it's made it affordable for them while buying a smaller piece, but also to have results you wouldn't normally have off 10 to 15 acres.
One, and I think I'm glad you brought that up because I mean I always jokingly tell the customers or clients we work with on the land management side or developing a hunting farm. It's not just about holding, growing, and obviously harvesting deer on your farm. You are going to pull deer. I mean, when you create per se utopia, hunting's pretty simple, especially when it comes to deer. I mean, it's all about food and pressure, and you need a bunch of one and not much of the other. So that recipe, you're not just killing your deer. Hypothetically, you'll be killing the neighbor's deer, and whether that neighbor's a national forest or another private landowner, if you're doing all the right things, those deer adapt quick, and they figure that out, and that's where they go.
They do, and we've been very fortunate. Like in the Clinton area, just where our farm's actually at, is a big natural gas production area. And one of the things that's happened is uh, those people are holding on to those pieces because of the mineral rights and the production.
Sure.
But a lot of them, they're not doing anything uh, as far as running a bunch of cattle or a bunch of pressure or selling it off. And just like in our particular place, a lot of the deer that come in front of my stand spend the majority of their time on the 200 acres next to me that's just got gas pads on it,
Sure.
and it enables us to draw them across there, and the turkey too, and we've got neighbors that uh, two of my neighbor that cuts my hay, we'll talk about it all the time. Well, did you get this buck, or did you have you seen him or our
Right.
turkey? And so a lot of areas that they can be in, and we're just still rural enough that it's hard to buy a piece of ground in my area that you're not going to see deer, turkey, uh, at least if
Well,
not bear.
Shawn, I know you and I discussed this, but my in my previous life, my travels brought me. I flew into Little Rock, but then I had a client up in Flippin, Arkansas, of all places, and I remember the first time I went up there. I should say down there, however you want to look at it, but down from Iowa, but up from Little Rock, and I remember making that drive and literally almost pinching myself because I was oblivious. Like I had no idea the topography and just I guess I'm going to say like denseness of Arkansas. Once you're out of that city, like that is some gorgeous country. And I don't know that I'd even call it like mountainous, but I mean it's rough. Like that's big country out there.
It is, and like Flipping, we've currently got a listing in Flipping on. We sell also a lot of White River fishing property. White
Okay.
River is real big trout fishing on there, and we we sold probably 15 pieces in the last 2 years on there. And like at Flipping, we've got a piece up there now that's 6 acres, sits across from Gaston's Resort, which is one of the premier trout fishing resorts up there. And
Yep.
they've really developed that and in a good way. And but to get there, you take the crooked roads to get there. And when you
Yeah.
get there, you got the privacy. And it's really neat down there. A lot of them we've sold on the river. You've got the privacy. It's a little remote to get to. At the same time, people can, and it's really been developed, and especially with like the piece we got. I'm sure when you went to Flipping, you drove by Ranger boats.
Oh yeah.
And
Actually, that's
Ranger,
why I was there.
well, and that's the thing that's really helped us. We talk about the rodeo ties. Uh, Forrest Wood's daughters did the horse show and the rodeo circus when we were kids, and my uncle
Right,
leased
and
them for
Sean,
Forrest.
just so people know who that is, I mean, Forrest Woods is the founder of Ranger Bass Boats, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. He was, and just getting able. I mean, we knew Forrest as the guy that was at the horse show with us that come, in the stock trailer, not
yeah,
as the national that it was, and those type of ties and getting to meet those people, and it's just really been invaluable on there as far as to
Well,
relating to what our customers are looking for.
and I mean that's what the I guess real estate business in general is all about, but especially firms like yours that in essence are specializing in recreational and or hunting farms. Um, those ties are I don't even know that you could put a value on it. I mean, the fact that you guys are personal friends with the guy that can take claim to all things Ranger. I mean, that's a multinational brand that if you're a big bass fisherman and you don't have a Ranger boat, I don't even know if you're a big bass fisherman.
We have heard that it ironically until I worked in Little Rock, I didn't even realize how big it was because it was just forced and
Yeah, it was
everybody had a Ranger boat, and you just don't realize those you know those connections. And I mean, my brother sells John Deere tractors in Harrison, and Forrest was one of his customers up to his death.
sure.
And the different interactions in the life. I really feel like we've got to live a lifestyle all our lives here, and generations before me, that more and more people are coming in wanting to enjoy that lifestyle, which a lot of them are for the hunting. They are for the land, for the privacy.
Yep.
And it makes us feel more and more blessed every day that this is how we grew up.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
don't know any different, right? I mean, it's second
no,
nature to you.
yeah, we don't. We went to convention, and I loved visiting Texas. But as I drove back, I told Hannah, I said, "I'm ready to get home. I love coming down here, but let me out of this. Where's our? When we turned down our dirt road on the way home, we were like, okay, we can breathe again. We're
Yeah.
back out here in the
No,
country."
I can totally relate. I mean, I love traveling and seeing new areas and hunting new areas for sure. But there is something about that. I mean, we always jokingly say we live in God's country because this is Iowa, and we got big bucks, we got good wrestling, we got some of the best dirt in the country. But the reality is, I love that. y- the more podcasts we do and the more agents we have on, Shawn, like I guarantee how you feel about, where you're at in Arkansas and where you're from in Arkansas is exactly how I feel about where we're at in Iowa. I mean, it just is.
And it's really, I think in the middle part of the U.S. here, I think we're all real fortunate in that. And you go, I mean, I've spent time in Iowa, rodeoing in Kansas and Nebraska and those, and you still feel a lot at home
Yeah.
there because it's the same kind of thing. And there's so many people saying, and we're about 4 days away from closing on a property here that's 153 acres and got a house and a bigger house. They're going to turn into a lodge, but we got people coming in and they're going to start raising quail, dove, pheasants, and set up the lodge for people to come here and hunt and set up for trail rides. And these are people from Florida that see that potential. They've enjoyed coming here. Um, they've come up here to quail hunt and dove hunt before, and they see the potential of coming here to set up to make a business out of it.
Absolutely.
And we're still in some ways getting used to the idea that that's such a business with people coming here when it's something we've lived with every day.
Yeah.
But that part is really growing more and more, and trying to meet those needs. And like that one, we're really excited that this is an older farm that some people took care of. They've had in the family 50 years, and they probably give 500 an acre, and this is $1 million farm now.
Yeah.
For hunting, it'll never have a cow on it,
Yep.
strictly for hunting. And just like the other property, it was $1 million property strictly for hunting, which is the market that is developing here, just like you said everywhere. And it's been great for us. It really
No,
has.
that's great. I was going to ask you, Shawn. So, like, I mean, obviously, you guys sell a lot of properties that, per se fit the mold for UC hunting properties. But um, are the, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, are the majority of your land transactions? I mean, is it land trading locally, or I mean, is it a lot of the outside influence coming in to have, whether it's a second home or a forever home, and somebody's moving out of a city and coming up to a rural lifestyle? And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I mean, like, as a percentage, is it? Do you feel like half your clientele are outsiders coming in to enjoy, what as normal everyday life?
Actually, Kurt, we talk about this all the time. We're probably 90%.
It's that much.
It is that much. And it gets a little lower. We sell all the way down to Conway, which is kind of the edge of the more metropolitan, even though it's not. And when we get in that area, we get some people moving around for the jobs. But once we get out of that part of our selling, it's every bit of 90%, and it's people
Wow.
coming here. And we have people that drive in. We had a whole family drive in from Oregon, and they picked Mountain View on a map. They'd never been here, and they sold their house and loaded up. And matter of fact, he called me and said, "About a month or two, we'll be there." I said, "Okay, we'll help you find something." We're on the way to a rodeo on Friday night for my daughter, and he calls and he says, "I'm getting off I-40. You're gonna need to find me something. We're getting a motel." And we have
Just
that
like
happen.
that.
And
I mean,
it's
that's
amazing.
crazy.
It is. It is. And we just get so many people that they've been here once, they've been here twice, and they're coming.
Yeah.
And they all want some land uh, to hunt, to homestead, to be self-productive for them. And what we see over and over is people that they want to become a little less dependent on the grocery store, on the things, having to hunt. We have, as far as the hunting side, they talk about only being able to hunt public lands. They want a piece of their own.
Yeah.
And we get that every day. I mean, we've got 4 of them under contract that are just that situation right now.
That's odd. I mean, that's an unbelievable stat though. If it's like 90% outsiders coming in, I mean that to me that speaks volumes about your guys' area in general.
Oh, it's just amazing. It's something that's hard to grasp every day. And, and the only downside we have to it is we've had a few that after about a year they call us and they say, "Do you know the grocery store or the convenience store shuts down at 7 o'clock?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Do you know it's 30 miles to Walmart?" "Yeah, yeah, it is." So we've had a few that got the lifestyle and then they said, "Oh no, we can't do it." But that's been a small percentage. But it really is. It's just something we do talk about a lot because it's just really hard to grasp that it's all that coming in. I mean,
Well, and
uh,
your did you say it's your brother or brother-in-law that's there at John Deere, Shawn?
my brother is at John Deere.
Okay,
Yeah.
so your brother probably loves the fact that you're in the land business because everybody coming to buy a chunk of land's got to have a tractor and it better be green.
Oh, he does. He does. And the only place I get caught is one of my good friends owns the Kubota dealership here.
Oh boy.
So I just kind of ask him. I say, if you're a John Deere person, here we go. If you're a Kubota person, here we go. And I actually we purchased a Kubota side by side last year
Yep.
because we needed something to use on the farm, but they make one where the back seat folds down for a bigger bed or it folds up. And us being in the real estate, we need our equipment to be multi-use,
Absolutely.
you know. And that was the only thing on the market. Now, every time my brother comes by my house, he'll put his hand up and not look at my Kubota and go from there. But
I hope you at least mess with him and like give him a Kubota hat for Christmas or something like that.
I seen him. I've seen him a few pictures of it and stuff like that, and I thought about the cap, but I wasn't sure that was going to go over good. It is all funny because the gentleman that owns this in the Kubota dealership, he knows my brother through roping too, so he does a real good job of giving him a hard time on
I
that.
was gonna say they probably get to jack each other up a little bit, but that's a good
Yes,
that's been a fun rivalry to kind of watch unfold too, because and I guess I'm speaking from experience up here, Shawn, but like it does seem like Kubota for sure had the market quartered on, kind of the smaller compact, like what I
mhm,
consider an acreage tractor, right?
right.
Um, and on the flip side, of course, the undisputed leader in agriculture is John Deere. I mean, shit, my grandpa, I grew up with a grandpa that never owned anything but John Deere. And he said, if it ain't green, it ain't a machine.
Well, I understand. We try to make sure we keep a few colors at the farm, make everybody happy.
Yeah,
You know,
listen to you, Mister. Yeah, playing that political card, staying somewhere in the middle. I like it.
oh yeah, I need them both. I need them both. So we kind of go that direction.
Right on,
Um,
right on. Now, Shawn, I was going to ask, have you guys been out chasing turkeys in Arkansas yet?
I got to go one morning, and that's been it. We have been extremely blessed since we got back from convention, and real busy. And we've got a gobbler and two hens that we've kind of been nursing and feeding on the property. And I've not hunted them because I don't. I've told my wife, I said, we won't cultivate these a year or two. Matter of fact, another agent, we had an agent the other day that called. Her dad lives near me, and she called and she said, "Dad just want to know if he saw a gobbler on your place." I said, "No, I'm not hunting him, and he's not.
Yeah.
We're going to build our herd over here
I
on there."
love it. I love it. Now,
But one of
Sean,
our agents has actually been all over. He's killed two in two different states already.
okay.
So
Now that's something I was going to ask about. I mean, tell us a little bit about Diamond G. Number one, I want to know, where does that name come from? Where did Diamond G come from? First off, and then secondly, I just want to like help me understand the dynamic there. I mean, I understand. I believe Hannah's the broker or one of the brokers.
mhm.
But talk to me about Diamond G a little bit.
Well, Diamond G was started by Hannah's mom, Georgie Church, and that's where the G comes from on there. And she has been with United Country, I believe, 21 years now
Okay, wow,
on there, and has had several agents come and go on there. Hannah started in 2011 and came in and got her sales license and then her broker's license. And then currently we have a gentleman, Greg Berryman, uh, who was a timber buyer in South Arkansas and moved to Mountain View. And he started his own independent real estate company, and then he came to work with us
cool.
on there. So we've got four in the office right now. Georgie has stepped back a little bit in the fact of Hannah has become our PB
Yep,
and does the paperwork and does that. And then Greg, it's kind of funny. We're four people in the office. We all have broker's license,
yeah,
and but Hannah's our PB, and that's kind of our dynamic. Hannah and I do everything together. Georgie still lists a lot of land because before United Country, she's been in Mountain View 30 years selling real estate and does a lot of listing. And then Greg does quite a few listings. He has a lot of friends and contacts from timber that have come up here from South Arkansas and doing that. So Greg pretty well does hunting land himself most of the time.
sure.
And that's kind of our dynamic. Me and Hannah work together on everything there and then also work with them. And then we do the drone photos and some different things there to try to spruce up the ads
Yeah,
because uh, Greg's 71 and Georgie's 68. And that don't mean anything in the world except they don't like the technology quite as much as
sure, sure,
we
sure.
get
No,
Hannah to do on that.
that makes
So
sense. No, you guys do a good job with it. And um, I guess on that note, Sean, if somebody if somebody absentee landowner, right, a non-resident buys ground in Arkansas, and I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here. Are there advantages from a hunting perspective if you're a landowner, even if you're a non-resident but you own land in Arkansas? I don't know the rules down there, but I guess I'm just curious on if being a landowner gives you advantages as a non-resident versus, say me coming down from Iowa just to hunt but not owning land. Do you know off the top of your head like what the regs are?
I do not. I do not. I know that there has been some individuals I know that mostly live out of state but have homes and addresses here that have been able to purchase some cheaper license as
Okay,
far as like an resident deal. But I don't know exactly the in and outs on that. And one thing about it that would limit you if you just own land is until you put a structure in Arkansas, they're not going to give it an address.
really?
So, yeah, I mean that's one of the things in the final closing. Uh, the only way they'll give you an address before you put a structure is if you're doing a perk test and it requires that on the deal, which those are 10-acre or less pieces. That's in Arkansas, but otherwise they don't give them addresses, so it
That's
doesn't really give you a
interesting.
mailing. Yeah, makes it
You
quite interesting sometimes.
So you basically just say like I own a quarter section in whatever county off such and such a road, or like I mean, how do you even know?
Well, you know, thank goodness to Land ID and Onyx and those programs now, we can find it, and a lot of the counties do. But we have a few counties that still don't map anything, and it gets real interesting to find the piece and approximations. And I mean, we've had some in Searcy counties next to us. They don't map anything, and so yeah, you're really kind of reading the deed and going down and find the fences and find the corners, and it's
And you better hope the old fence is right, because
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, well, we sold one piece that was 69 acres supposed to be, and they surveyed it, and it come out 70 acres. But the interesting part is when they surveyed it, the fence, the lines were 60 feet away from the fence on both sides. The whole thing was shifted, and nobody knew it. Now everybody conceded back to the fences, but we get into those type issues, and sometimes 60 feet's a long ways.
oh, you ain't a kidding. Absolutely.
So yeah,
That's
we get into
interesting.
that. Yep.
I just learned something. Now, so Shawn, let's talk about your area in general. I mean, what is the main appeal if somebody's looking in, again, I'm generically saying north central Arkansas, but from a hunting perspective, I mean, I know you mentioned the people you were working with that are going to do the quail and the pheasant and whatever, but when people are looking in your area, I mean, is it the ducks, is it the bucks, like turkey, like what's drawing them there? What would you say you guys are best known for?
In our area, as far as the hunting, it's going to be the deer and the turkey is going to be the main thing. The bear hunting is becoming getting a little more dense. We've also got, and it's starting into the upper part of the area we work. They reintroduced elk into the Buffalo River,
Okay.
and they are starting to have more and more hunts that are public hunts and that they draw tags for. So that part is starting to uh, come
Take
up
off a
even
little.
better.
Yeah.
And they're pretty hard to get. I've applied the last 3 years, and you don't get me. But that population's growing on there, and really, in our area, they come for the lifestyle and then enjoy the hunting. As far as if they're moving here,
Yep.
Mountain View is big bluegrass folk music. They play bluegrass on the square every Saturday night.
Cool.
We have in Clinton, they have the national championship chuck wagon races every year, which is the biggest horse event, as far as I know, in the U.S. They
Wow.
5 to 6,000 horses in there and 20 to 30,000 people. So we get people that come as tourists sometimes for those things, and then they decide, hey, this might not be a bad place to live, and we
Sure.
get to live the lifestyle.
Sure.
So those are kind of the draws, and then a lot of the people that come for the just buy strictly hunting properties are the ones that this is close enough to Springfield, Missouri, Little Rock, Fort Smith, the Fayetteville area, which is full with Walmart and everything, that they can buy a piece and drive over on Friday night and be on their stand Saturday morning.
Sure, sure. And I was gonna ask because I mean I know even when I was down in Flippin, I remember people still talking about kind of the Ozarks appeal. And when I think of the Ozarks, I think of Missouri. But on the flip side, I mean, with you guys being in northern Arkansas, like what is the proximity, to per se the Ozarks from where you guys are at, Shawn?
For me, I really feel like it is when you leave Conway in Arkansas, going straight north, you're going into the Ozarks, and really all the way through Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah,
Uh, I would consider to be that. And really, the Ozarks, it goes over when you go to the east, it ends pretty quick because we get into row crop country
yep,
over there, past Batesville in that area. And it goes into the Fayetteville, Springdale area, um, which is still the Ozarks. The only difference over there is it's become very populated. So you don't get quite the same feel as you
sure.
do. But everything really from Conway to Springfield, Missouri, straight north is. And as we tell our customers, that's what we work. We work from Conway, and then the furthest north listing we have right now, which is on UC Hunting Properties, is at Peel, and it is literally 4 miles from the Missouri line
Yeah,
uh, on the lake. And just like Peel's, one of those properties, 21 acres that it's not really close to anything, and you got privacy, and you got one cafe, and people go up there and they can, because a lot of ours that are moving want the hunting and the fishing. They want to
yep.
be able to go to the lake or the river and fish and then hunt in the fall.
Well, and we didn't even touch on that. I mean, it's literally world class fishing in that area. I mean, there's a reason Flippin, Arkansas is the home of Ranger bass boats. It's not by chance.
Oh, it is. It is. And Bull Shoals Lake uh, is really known for fishing on it. And then, of course, the White River goes in between Bull Shoals Lake and Greers Ferry Lake and
Yep.
all those, and they stock them with the trout in it. And it's really good on that part
Sure. Sure.
also.
Because how big is population wise? How big is Mountain View where you guys are at?
About 2,300 in the town on
Sure.
there. The whole county, uh, I believe the whole county in Stone County is about 15,000, and then where we're at, where our farm's at, is Van Buren County, and it's equal 15,000. That's
Yeah.
pretty average for when once you leave Conway and you head north, you get to the line. All these counties are they're pretty much all less than 20,000 people,
Sure.
so it's not real dense. And there's just so many places you can put a house when it's on the side of a bluff over here.
Right.
I mean, or at least you can afford to put a house.
Correct. Yeah.
My grandpa used to say, "Just because you can do it doesn't mean you ought to."
That's
You know,
that's a real good saying. Yeah.
so
No, that's cool. That's cool. Well, Shawn, it was fun catching up with you. It was fun kind of, shining the spotlight down there into north central Arkansas where you guys are at and where you guys are doing business. Have really enjoyed getting to know you and Hannah. Kudos on everything you guys got going. I'd love to come down and visit you, maybe shoot that turkey that you're harboring. So
we could do that.
keep him safe till next spring, and you can give me the layup. I'll take it. But anything else you'd want the listeners to know or understand about you, Shawn, or Diamond G Realty?
Well, the only other thing would be really about UC hunting properties. And here's the thing: we get calls from people seeing stuff on Zillow, but the advantage is with the website and the technology that's been built into UC hunting properties. It gives us the ability to send them links and get the information. But really, when we're going to talk to these people about listing their properties, we can say you can see anything on Zillow. But
Yeah.
when we get these calls, we're going to send them a website that tells them everything except what the ground feels like when they step on it.
Yep. Yep.
And that's one of the things we love about our business and being involved with UC Hunting Properties is we really, in our opinion, can send them all those stuff that's put in that website and let them get everything but the feel of the ground.
No,
And that's just the
I
difference.
I love how you just kind of teed that up because I mean, at the end of the day, that it's not just a specialty marketing group, right? And that's what I tell everyone. Like, nobody is going out to UC hunting properties to look for a commercial building. Like,
Nope.
not to say that there isn't one now and then if it fits the mold and where it's at and why it's at where it's at and so on. But the reality is it's a very focused group of buyers visiting the site. And I appreciate you bringing that up, Shawn, because I mean, it obviously living it day to day, that's some of the things I forget about. But like, yeah, if anybody listening's looking for land or looking, our UC members, it's a very, very powerful tool because it definitely sets us apart. And at the end of the day, we are the largest group of rural America land brokers in existence, and this just goes hand in hand.
Yes, it is, and it just it sets us out there. And for me personally, it's just kind of like I said before. I'm probably not the guy to work at Mercedes, but I'm also probably not the guy to sell your house in the middle of Little Rock. But I am the guy when you get ready for out there. And you see hunting properties, and these things give us those tools to take care of our customers in a way that can't be taken care of with a normal realtor.
Yeah,
And
no,
that's one of the things I enjoy.
you're right, and we always say it doesn't matter who we're talking to or what part of the country they're in. Like, you either you're either a land guy or you're not, and if you're trying to fake being one, it doesn't last very long.
It does. We get offers from ones that are faking those, and we're like, "Oh boy, this is not going to be good." You start asking the questions, they're like, "I don't know." So,
Right, right,
but
right.
I think you're right. It's just because we have to love it. It's just like loving rodeo and hunting and cars and all because you don't go out here on the side by side with ticks all over you, with trying to keep from getting bit by a snake if you don't love being out there to start with.
That's right.
You're just
Nope.
not going to.
That's 100% right. But no, Shawn, we appreciate your time today. Like I said, always good to catch up and spend a little time with you guys. Um, kudos to where you guys are at, and good luck for a strong run here in 24. We'll have you on again, Shawn, and I am going to take you up on coming down and killing the pet turkey in the backyard.
That sounds good. I really appreciate it, Kurt.
Sounds
I've
good,
enjoyed it.
buddy. You take care of yourself.